And that's going to be all right. Actually, let's see. What happens if I do take it out? Yeah, that XD is better. No, it's not. Hmm. Hmm. Okay. Well, we'll see. I closed the blinds. If anybody, if you're watching this from the beginning and you're watching the tape, you see me getting up in front of the screen and everything because I was opening and closing the blinds to see if that light made a difference. Because I'm seeing like darkness. Oh, and darkness is on my side away from the light. Hmm. That's okay. I'll leave it like this and we'll see what happens. All right, we are 3 minutes away. Glue. Okay. Okay, we are 2 minutes away from glue. Glue Wednesday. Man. Caller, you're on the air. And it's as we get ready to set up. Wonder what that is. Oh, that's cool. That's the light from the. See this little yeah, that little. That's actually not a sign on my wall. That's that's the light coming from the window. Wow. Oh, it's because I changed how the blinds are positioned. So it almost has uh, a spotlight effect to it, well, yeah, a spotlight effect to it. I like that. I think I'll keep the blinds this way. See, everything has a reason. So thank you for me having to, uh, in trying to consider the lighting for glue. It made me change the way I have my um, blinds open. And everything that's what every now and then that's what you want to do in life is change the way you look at things. Sometimes change the way you look at things. And so just a simple thing like changing the blinds, changing your window settings, moving furniture around. Life is really about change. And if we can find different ways to change those little things, because the truth is, one of the things that we tend to forget is that change is very small. We tend to make it a big thing or a bigger thing than it is, but change is very small. So go through the gradual changes in your life that make a difference. And I think that actually puts us in a good place to start because what I've got on today. I tell you, I always try to do things intentionally. I call it living on offense. So often we live on defense where we're hoping we're accepted. We're hoping we have the right outfit. We're hoping we say the right thing in an interview. Um, we're hoping someone likes our attitude. But I say, let's live on offense. In other words, I know this is the outfit that I need to have on. These are the clothes that I have. I know that what I say is what I mean because it's what I believe in because I'm speaking from my heart. So therefore, if I don't get that job on that interview, well, then that might not have been the right place for me to rest my spirit because that's what a job is. It's a place to rest your spirit. You're using your time there. Um, and your energy and talents, and so that's where you're resting. And in this case, rest means to set, to put. So you're resting your spirit, okay? And so it's about being on offense, trying to live an intentional life. We hear it a lot from speakers and different people, and sometimes we don't really get what they're at, what they're asking, what they're at. So One of the intentional things that I do, like I said, I think is I wear clothes. I give myself different themes every day. You know what? I even change my coffee cup every morning. I don't use the coffee cup, the same coffee cup every morning. And in fact, I don't just reach in the cabinet and pull out a cup. Uh, I will look through my cups and see what theme do I want. What do I want going on in my day? That I'm starting my day with my coffee. So what am I going to start my day with? It's that little thing. It's the mind games that you play with yourself that make a difference. How can you have the mental capacity to deal with others if you don't use your mental capacity to deal with yourself? So the shirt I'm wearing today is actually great for, I think, walking into what we're talking about today. We're going to be talking about pace, but this is a Stepping Up for Kids and a Cure for Juvenile Diabetes t-shirt. And it's a walk that I did years ago. And one of the things I like about it also is that on the front, you see there's no date. See, so I don't even remember what year that walk was. But that's my point, is that because passion must be about your purpose and have no calendar restrictions, I'm glad that this doesn't have a date on it. Because, if I did that walk once and then never believe in the need for a cure to juvenile diabetes, because they do not have a cure yet, right? So therefore, my passion might be over. And I could be oversimplifying that. I didn't have that written down, so I just threw that in. But the thing is, your passion, it should be your purpose. And it should not be restricted by a calendar, celebration, or acknowledgement. And I'm going to read some of my passions as we get to the end of this session, because I want to close out with that. I think that again, I wore this because it says, by the way, it calls Stepping Up for Kids. And it shows people walking. And our topic today is pace. So I think this is a great step. It's a great walk into pace. The premise is that that I chose for today in choosing pace is that everybody develops at their own pace, and it can be tough for them it can be tough for them because we superimpose our time frame, which equates a limit and sometimes false expectation based on research instead of real stuff. So, see, everybody has their own pace, and when we decide that we want them to pick up the pace, for instance, you'll hear that term, or when we decide what their pace should be, we're superimposing our time frame, which limits what somebody else can accomplish. In my book, Starting Today, one of my affirmations was called Know Better, and that's K-N-O-W, know better. You're 13 now, you should know better. Ever say that to a child? More importantly, have you ever asked yourself why they should know what at which age? And when did you really learn the lessons you know today in your life and business? Neither really comes with a rule book, does it? Your success must mature according to who you are. You see, we all learn at different pace. And so that when we accept that, the fact that everybody learns at a different pace, number one, we appreciate the fact that people allow us to learn at our own pace. In fact, we insist that people allow us to learn at our own pace. So the key is, let's find a way to appreciate that someone else must learn at their pace. So here's how I've broken down pace. And I've done it into 3 different acronyms that you'll find in my book, Ac-Firmations, which is short for acronyms that are affirmations, daily things to live by, inspirational messages that will get you through. So the first one is PACE, P-A-C-E. Pleased about choices and empowerment. Pleased about choices and empowerment. In other words, appreciate your appreciate your track record instead of your lack record. Be pleased with the choices that you've made in life. You've made a lot of good choices. You've made more good choices than you have bad choices in your life. And that good choice didn't necessarily have to come from your mature age. It could have come when you were a child, 3 years old, and decided not to play in the toilet, fallen and bumped your head and killed yourself, right? We have made a lot of good choices, but we spend more time focusing on the bad choices, thinking that we want to fix something, instead of focusing on the good choices and recognizing that what we want to do is grow something. So focus on your track record and not your lack record. And that way you'll be pleased with the choices, about your choices, and empowerment. The empowerment part is the fact that your faith is contagious and helps someone else have the vision of themselves that they need to follow their path. If you keep talking about your mistakes, you dampen their resolve. In other words, once you show that the faith that you have in making the choices and going through the struggles that you went through to get where you are, or where you want to be, then someone else, instead of you saying, you're 13, you should know better by now, someone 13 can look at where you are and say, you know what, I think I want to be there. I think I want to be where he or she is. And here's what I have to do to get there. Here's what I have to give up. Here's what I have to sacrifice. Here's where I could push a little harder. Because, see, then they start to see that you have had the faith, and they say, well, dang, she or he did without this, so I can get that. I mean, everybody's got those stories about what their parents sacrificed to let them get through. My mother used to always, my mother had a funny thing. I remember her telling the story where we were complaining. Oh, God, how did she put that? She took us, we were complaining about something, about our clothes, and she took us into her room and opened her drawer and showed us some of her underwear that had holes in it. And we were all laughing, ha ha, mommy, you got holes in your drawers, that kind of thing. And she said to us, that's because rather than continuing to buy a new pair, I sacrificed and made sure that you didn't have holes in yours. And changed the whole mood. Even at a young age, we got that message. And you know what? The truth is, I've heard her tell that story. I don't know that she ever did it, because it really didn't ring a bell. And I know my mother was definitely too cool to be having holes in her drawers. But but she used to tell that story, and it really gets the message across. So recognize that it showed us, the faith that she had, because she believed in us, and to the point where she said, well, you know what, I will make the sacrifice so that they can flourish. And that's what I'm saying. You have to recognize that your faith is contagious. And my mother's faith was definitely contagious. I have a lot of faith and belief in myself. And based on her and my father, two very strong-willed and minded people. In fact, I used to always laugh and say the reason they didn't stay together was because it was two chiefs and no Indians. Because they were both very strong. So look at your legacy and look at the lineage that you come from, and really appreciate your ancestors and what they did to get through. So Pace, pleased about the choices and empowerment, because you give people power based on the choices that you make. My second acronym for Pace is placing actions carefully and effectively. Placing actions carefully and effectively. In other words, as you continue to make good decisions, because again, you've made a lot of good decisions, stop and give yourself credit. You've made a lot of good decisions. Now, as you move on to make your next decision, take more care in the next steps in your short and long-term goals. Take more care in your next steps in your short and long-term goals. Make sure that you are using quality moves versus quantity moves. In other words, you don't always have to be in visible motion. You see, when you place your actions carefully and effectively, everybody won't see what your actions are. Everybody won't know where you're trying to go, what you're trying to do. Because the funny thing is, the more people that know the plan, the better chance it has of working. Conversely, the more people that know the plan, the less chance it has of working. So they're both the same, but the key is who you're surrounding yourself with, because the more people that know the plan, the bigger chance you have of someone betraying you and letting the plan leak out and ruin the outcome, versus the more people that know the plan, the better chance you have of having the resources and the people that lift you up and help you move forward. I always say, there's a term called, let's weigh the pros and cons. I like to weigh the cons and the pros. So that I'll end with the positive. So I would rather think that the more people that know the plan, the better, because I'm surrounding myself with the right people who are going to encourage me and lift me up so that I can get the results that I need. If there's a biblical reference to it, by the way, when Jesus chose his 12 disciples, he sent them out in twos. He didn't send them to 12 different places. He sent them to 6. He sent them out in twos, and he told them that's so that each of you can have someone else to encourage you, because you're getting ready to go through a tough time. Life is tough. You are guaranteed that you are going to go through a tough time, and you're going to need the right person or the right people there to lift you up and keep you going and to keep your strength strong. So that's why the disciples were sent out in twos. That's why you have to recognize and realize that you can't do it alone. You have to have the right people in your life. How do you attract the right people? Well, you have to attract the right people by attracting yourself. One of the things I say is I have a personal relationship with everyone because I have a personal relationship with me. As you get to know yourself better, you will magnetize and pull the people in that you need in your life, and they'll come willingly. Even when at churches they say the doors of the church are open, will you come? They don't say get on up here. Okay, so it's always about an invitation. An invitation. The speaking tip I give when I talk to someone who's a prospective speaker is when you call on somebody, extend an open hand as you point to them, over top. This means, are you willing to share? Or this means, have you got something that we can use? Versus a point is accusation. It's a little speaking tip, but it makes a difference, because what you're doing is always, remember being on offense, I'm always going through my checklist and making sure that I'm delivering the right message the way it needs, the right way it should be delivered. And if I go through my checklist, I don't end up at the end of the engagement saying, wow, I can't wait to get the evaluations. I hope they liked me. I hope they appreciate what I say. I hope I deliver my message. No, my concern is, did I deliver the message that I came to deliver? Who that message was for, I don't know. So I can't get over concerned about what someone says, because there's too many people and too many communication styles in the room for me to dare to believe that I got through to everybody. So again, when you get your evaluations, don't get caught up. We get 100 evaluations, 98 say you were great, and 2 have a problem with you, and you focus on those 2 instead of celebrating the 98. See, so that I don't do that. To me, if I read the evaluations, the key is I read them with an open mind, and I recognize that the person who I didn't get through to, I was not their messenger, and I was not sent there to get through to them, because if I was, I would have gotten through. Choose your messengers carefully. Recognize that you are someone's messenger. And the teacher appears when the messenger appears, or the teacher appears when the student is ready. And if the student is not ready or interested in you, if they don't see you as their messenger, they can't accept you as their messenger. If they are caught up in a material possession mindset, which, by the way, a lot of people are subconsciously, because we always hear the word success, it's attached to material success. We only hear people, they talk about somebody is successful, and then they show you what they've got. They've got houses, they've got cars, look at their clothes. We don't really hear about the success of Mother Teresa or, anybody who took, Gandhi. Those people, they weren't successful till they were dying. And we acknowledge their vow of poverty and the sacrifice they went through. But along the way, and maybe it was different back then when they were first on the scene, but these days, every time we hear success, start to notice it. Oprah Winfrey says the same thing I say, but you'll listen to her before you listen to me, and that's not a problem. I don't have a problem with that, because you choose your messengers. That's why I'm comfortable with the fact that I'm not your messenger. And I'm comfortable when I'm not someone's messenger, and I believe they should be comfortable when they're not mine. Because I've had people ask me, well, what do you think about so and so? And I never say I like them or dislike them, because I don't like or dislike anybody. I have just said, he's not my messenger. And the person looked at me and they said, well, yeah, but why? I said, because he's not my messenger. They said, yeah, but why? And I said, because he's not my messenger. See, I'm a grown up. I don't have to explain anything. I do explain things, but I choose what I explain. You have the same right. And you don't have to regret that. You don't have to feel that you're nasty. Even though I admit, when I said that, when they asked me the third time, which to me was like a child, said, why? I turned to another friend of mine who was sitting there, and I said, was I not clear with what I said? I said, was that too harsh? And then she said, no, I think you were very clear. And we both laughed, and we dropped that conversation. But to this day, that person and I, who was asking me the questions, we've become decent friends. But I never forget that, because because that was a lesson that he had to learn, how important it is to allow someone to have the belief that they believe. And I'm not mixing up my words. That you have to believe in your belief. So when someone says, this is what I believe in, hopefully they should be talking to themselves. When I say this is what I believe in, I hear what I say. I'm always listening to Sporty. So again, that's why I can't get caught up in who else is not listening to Sporty. Because as I listen to myself, I recognize that I'm listening to God. I'm listening to God's voice and what he says through me. It's similar to how I go to a speaking engagement where somebody has known me. It's not my first time or whatever. And they say, oh my God, you're speaking. I'm looking forward to hearing what you have to say. And I say, yeah, me too. Because I don't know what I'm going to say. I know what I came to talk about, but I don't know what I'm going to say. So I'm always looking forward to what I have to say too. In fact, I do it on these broadcasts. I always write my notes down, because if I don't write notes, I can't keep to the time. Because there's so many things that I have to share and that I want to share, and that it's my job and my duty to share, and my pride to share on behalf of my messenger. Excuse me, my messenger, who's God. And my messenger, Jesus said, he said, throw the seeds, don't aim them. Throw the seeds, don't aim them. In other words, he guaranteed that not all the seeds would come back. What's the word? Would not come back. Would not take root. In that parable, and I can't quote the scripture because I don't quote the Bible. I use the Bible. I love the principles in there. He guaranteed. He said some of the seed will land on hard ground. In fact, he guaranteed 2 spots that you will not get a return. Some of the seed will land on hard ground. Some will land on fertile ground, but grow up in thorns and get sliced away as it grows. So he guaranteed that there were 2 spots, 2/3 of the seeds thrown would not come back to bless you, because only that third set was the one that will take root and then grow back to prosper. And if there's a 4th set, then you go on and fill in that blank. But those are the ones I know. So it's a guarantee. Throw the seeds, don't aim them. Share your message, and whomever the message is for, they will get it. They will get it. And a lot of times I'll get that when someone comes up to me afterwards and say, oh man, thank you. I really needed your message. That was just what I needed. And then I say, okay, good. Well, this is who God sent me to reach. And I'm like, okay, good job, God. Because good job, Sporty. So, again, remember, place your actions carefully and effectively. And your actions are the things that you do that exemplify the passion of your purpose. And it's the quality of that placement. You don't have to, remember, you don't have to, I don't have to get out and speak to everybody. No, it's the quality of the people that I speak to that makes a difference in my life, which is why I so much enjoy speaking with my military family and just talking to them about the high calling on their life as military families. And please, if you have a military family or if you know one, recognize the challenge that they have. I didn't say feel sorry for them. I don't feel sorry for anybody. I don't use sympathy. I use empathy and compassion. And there's a high calling on the military family because, for instance, a service member enlists, goes to boot camp, does drill weekend in the National Guards, or if and they're enlisted, they're on base, and then they serve with like-minded individuals, whether they're in Afghanistan, Kuwait, Africa, Israel, wherever they go, wherever they deploy, they're with like-minded individuals who know what the mission is and what their specific job is toward the completion of that mission. What happens to the families, the wives, the children, the parents, the nieces and the nephews, the brothers and the sisters, the close friends, the neighbors, what happens to the family is that once that person leaves, they have to figure out how to get through the day. There's nobody else on the block that understands what they're going through. So if you happen to be living on the block, or you have some military family, friends who have a deployed loved one, make yourself available. You won't, let me guarantee you, you won't know how you can help them. So just make yourself available. And one of the things I do, because the contract I'm on is called a Yellow Ribbon Program, it's for family going through the deployment cycles, and we try to talk to them about being able to ask for help. It's not an easy thing to do, to ask for help. So don't just decide, oh, they must be fine because they didn't ask for help. Oh, the kids look clean, everything must be fine. You know, your military neighbors and family members are going through some tough times when their loved ones are deployed. So maybe you don't have to say, do you need any help? Because again, that can also, maybe that can be a little intrusive. Just say, hey, you know what? I'm gonna come over for coffee, or see, now I can't think of anything. So that's what you have to do too, is take a look at what's going on in their life. Think about with them, what type of relationship you have, and find out if there's a way. You know what? I'm thinking about cooking such and such. Would you like me to save you some? You know, that type of thing. All right. So please help our military families and have that quality action that you take. And I want to restate this thing that I wrote. You don't always have to be in visible motion. Remember, as you make change, as you pace yourself, internal, because motivation, by the way, is internal. It's not external. It's so important that you are working on yourself on the inside and let it shine on the outside. Everybody doesn't need to know what you're doing. All right. So the last acronym I use for PACE is, by the way, that last one was placing actions carefully and effectively. And this next one is patiently allowing and cultivating empathy. Patiently allowing and cultivating empathy. Procrastination put to good use is disguised as patience. Procrastination put to good use is disguised as patience. In other words, somebody else may think that you're procrastinating, but you could be you can see it as patience. But we decide, we put ourselves in, oh, I'm procrastinating. No. You're just being patient. You be the judge of your pace by looking at your progress, your process, your progress, and your production. You be the judge of your pace by looking at your process, your progress, and your production. And that's how you can decide, was I procrastinating or was I being patient? See, don't allow people to judge you. They're going to do it anyway, but don't accept their judgment. Be sure that you evaluate yourself. Too often, we don't take the time to appreciate what we've created, accomplished, and been blessed with. Too often, we don't take the time to appreciate what we've created, accomplished, and been blessed with. So again, step back and look at your creation sometime. And I always say to people, look, I'm not positive 365 days a year, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. But I'm positive more than I'm negative. I'm up more than I'm down. And I'm going forward more than I'm going backwards. And there's nothing wrong with reframing going backwards to recognizing that every now and then you just have to step back and look at your work. That's the faith. Step back and say, wow, I did that. That was a great decision that I made. That was wonderful that I was able to create that. What an accomplishment. What a blessing. So take the time to appreciate what you created, accomplished, and been blessed with. You were made to be rewarded, not restrained by unpopular opinion. You were made to be rewarded, not restrained by unpopular opinion. And it's funny that after I wrote that, I recognized that I could read that sentence two ways. The first way I just read it, you were made to be rewarded, not restrained by popular opinion, by unpopular opinion. That was with the pause. But I can read it straight through. You were made to be rewarded by unpopular opinion. See, if I don't pause there, you were made to be rewarded by unpopular opinion. In other words, your reward is sometimes the unpopular opinion because you're going to ruffle somebody's feathers. Somebody is not going to want you to be successful and do what you do, and that becomes a reward because you're doing what you're supposed to do. Jesus was sent, and when he sent the disciples out, he said, "You will be persecuted in my name." God treated him the way he treated him. Why would you expect any other treatment? We have to recognize that we are here to gather, in some respects, unpopular opinion. Somebody's not going to like you. That's life. Do you like you? That's smart. See, I like me. In fact, I love me. But liking is the cherry on the cake. Because we have to like ourselves. Sometimes we say, I don't like the way I look in that outfit. I don't like the way I did this. I don't like how I acted. We have to remember that the words we feed into our spirit make a difference. So keep liking yourself and recognize that you are made to be rewarded, not restrained by unpopular opinion. So you're going to be rewarded by unpopular opinion, not restrained by it. Restrained means to slow you down. And then again, but putting the pause in there, you were made to be rewarded, not restrained by unpopular opinion. You're here to be rewarded, okay? So, pace your path with peace. If you're sharing and shining your life from a place of love, you don't have to apologize for nor regret your actions. Pace your path with peace. If you're sharing and shining your life and your light from a place of love, you don't have to apologize for nor regret your actions. Do the things that you're supposed to do based on how you feel. Some people will not agree with you, and many will. Throw those seeds. Don't aim them. Some of the passion, keep the passion and purpose in the pace as you support certain things. Like I said, I support the research for the cure of juvenile diabetes. Some of the other things I support. Yesterday, June 27th, was PTSD Awareness Day. I support suicide prevention awareness, partially because I've had a staff member who took her life by suicide when I was at the Wall Street Journal. Okay, and the proper term we hear was a committed suicide, but it's take your life by suicide. Committed almost sounds like that it was a successful thing, and we don't want to see suicide as successful. So it's took their life by suicide. I support cancer research. Why? Because my mother died of cancer, my niece last year, my mother 10 years ago, my niece last year, Trishawn, died of cancer. And two associations that I support are CTCA, Cancer Treatment Centers of America, and St. Jude's Children's Hospital for Cancer Research. And then there's also the cancer that my sister is born under the sign of cancer. So Zet is a cancer, and I'm a Virgo, but we're born 10 months apart, so we're going to be the same age for the next 2 months. So it's actually 2 months away from me breaking our twinship, but that's cancer. I support HIV research because I have friends who have died from HIV. I support the military and anything we can do to support those families I mentioned earlier. I support the Boys and Girls Club. I support the Girls and Boy Scouts of America. I support the YMCA. I support HeyUgly.com, which is an online website for teen and tween self-esteem. It's one of my silent partnerships. So, these are causes that are year-round. So whatever you support, make sure that you're pacing your purpose, keep your passion, pace your purpose, and make sure that you have peace as you support the things that you support. And definitely start off with supporting yourself. I thank you for supporting me on this weekly broadcast of Glue Wednesday, GLUE, God's love undoes everything. Whatever's going on in your life, that may seem to be tearing your life apart, God can put it back together. And that's what the glue is all about. Use his love by being his love. Thank you, and I'll see you next week.